but I put on makeup and play dress up for a living. Welcome to the On the Edge podcast with your host, Scott Groves. So explain method.
Okay, yeah.
Like method acting?
Method acting.
I've heard that term. I have no clue what it means.
All it means is if you're doing method acting, then whatever you're feeling, you're supposed to be feeling in the scene, whatever emotion I'm seeing you express, it's real. There's no acting. So method acting means it has to be real.
Got it. Is this why people like Ben Stiller have made 35 movies basically just playing himself?
Yeah, like he's not a method actor, but great. I mean, whatever he does is fantastic.
Right. Because don't you just get the feeling he's playing him? Like he's this goofy. He was the class clown. Like, I'm kind of spazzy, but I'm funny while I'm doing it.
Yes.
Like all of his movies are just him playing a really dumb or a really smart version of him.
You can make $100 million playing you if you find that one you that people want to hire. You know,
right?
So, So so it's very unusual. Most classes, if you go to an acting class, they'll say they want real, but they don't really teach you how to do that, how to really feel something for real. How do you do that? You know?
Right.
So you have to learn how, and then you have to have the instrument to feel it.
So here's the thing that I've never understood.
Go ahead.
And grab your cigar. I'm gonna pontificate. You know, there's that old joke where it's like those who can't teach and those who can't teach PE. So I always wonder when there's like a world-class sales coach or a world-class acting coach, or they're supposedly coaching in this industry where you can make big money. Like if you're the best salesperson in the world, you know, we know some loan officers who make millions and millions of dollars a year. There's actors who make tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars a year. If you, like you mentioned this guy, Eric Morris, if he's the best, right? Why isn't he just the best actor? Why isn't he making $15 million a picture, being the greatest method actor of all time and doing Shakespeare and comedy? And like, why isn't he Robert De Niro versus being Eric Morris? Like,
right.
I don't get it. Like acting teachers kind of make me giggle inside because I'm like, well, if you were really good at it, wouldn't you just act?
Wouldn't you just be, Remember Jeff Van Gundy?
No.
The
basketball coach.
Yeah, the short white.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe 5'10".
Yeah. Teaching basketball. I mean,
looks like everybody's accountant.
Yeah. So teaching, you could, Eric is a good actor, but he happens to have a real knack for teaching.
Interesting.
So he was pursuing his career. He never got the big break. He used to be hanging out with Jack Nicholson and a few other people. Jack got the break. He didn't get the break. And then he was just doing basic jobs. And someone said, hey, you should teach. And he was going to an acting class. He was going to an acting class with, what's his name? It's escaping me.
Doesn't matter.
He had to go do a movie. He had to go do Cleopatra at the time. That's how long ago that he started teaching. So Eric's
an old dude.
He's 91.
Okay, so yeah. I was gonna say he's getting up there if he had a role in Cleopatra.
Yeah. So no, he was in an acting class. The teacher had to leave to go do a role in Cleopatra.
Got it.
He lost his acting class. A friend of his said, "Why don't you start an acting class just so you have somewhere to go?" That's what started his teaching career. And then turns out he just happens to be insanely talented. He didn't know. He was talented.
Interesting.
He just was like making a couple of bucks, and then turns out he has this insane talent. And he's written 10 books now. He's been teaching for 50 years. He didn't know it either.
So he knows his craft really well.
Really well, yes.
So you mentioned, Jack Nicholson got the break. Eric Morris didn't get the break.
Yes.
One of the most gorgeous women I know, friend of mine, Desiree Hall, red hair, actress, beautiful. Like she could very easily be Scarlett Johansson, right? Yeah. But somewhere, redhead Scarlett Johansson got the break, and Desiree did a couple cool commercials, and she chose a different path, being a mom and a great wife and everything. But it's like, how much of it is Scarlett Johansson is 1%, 10%, 40% better actress than other insert redhead versus just right place, right time, right casting director, right script, and boom, they take off, and now Scarlett Johansson makes $100 million a year. And the latter.
Yeah.
Just dumb luck.
Hard
work, dumb luck?
I think she worked, I'm sure, if we got our story, there's probably a ton of hard work. You'd be surprised because when you look behind the scenes, you have to go do auditions, right?
Right.
Well, you could suck. You could be a great actor, terrible auditioner.
Explain. That doesn't make any sense to me. Explain that.
I mean, because auditioning is like its own thing. I always compare it to like you could be a great boyfriend, husband, terrible at meeting women, terrible. But you're great in a relationship.
Right.
But that like getting the girl, totally different skill.
Than keeping the girl.
Yeah. Totally different.
Or you could be a great opener. You could be the best on a first date and just be horrible boyfriend material.
Horrible. Right.
Got it.
So in acting, if you're a good auditioner, you're going to book. If you're not a good auditioner, you're not going to book. You'd be the greatest actor ever and a terrible auditioner. You have famous people. If you listen to them talk, they'll talk about auditions, and they'll be like, "Oh, I hate auditioning. Auditioning's the worst." It's just a whole other thing.
Wait, isn't auditioning just a microcosm of the acting? Like, don't they say, "Hey, here's one scene from the movie. Just read this scene, and we'll see how you fit"? Like, I don't get it. I've never been to an audition.
No,
obviously.
sure. Okay, let's just say we have our little heartbreaking scene here that we're
okay.
we're
Perfect.
okay?
Brothers, mom just died.
Yeah, mom just died. You're about to fall apart. In an audition, here's how it goes. So I'm going to go and audition for the part. I'm sitting in a chair outside an office. Come on in. You walk inside. Hi, Christian? Yeah. Okay, great. All right, whenever you're ready. You do the scene. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, that's very different than we're on set. We have hours to shoot. We do a little prep before. We're sitting in our chairs. We can relate to each other.
You've done 5 read-throughs with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, the environment's there.
Right.
You're in the scene. I mean, it's very unnatural. I've walked into an audition room that was like a closet.
Right.
I mean, a tiny thing. There's a camera on you. It could not be more anti-acting.
Right.
You know? Hi, come on in. I mean, sometimes you have 10 seconds. You walk in.
And do you have the scene like weeks in advance to prep, or do they hand it to you
in advance?
A day in advance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you come in. I mean, it's like they even say like, "Hey, how are you?" And you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" That kind of throws you off. Like you're supposed to do a scene in like 5 seconds.
Right.
You have to literally go in, "Hi," while you have this running in the background. "Hey, how's it going?" "Okay, I'm ready." And then
yeah. Go. Hey, this quick interruption is brought to you by me, Scott Groves, the host of the On the Edge podcast. This podcast is brought to you by me. I'm a loan officer who can help you with a mortgage in all 50 states across the United States. I also coach loan officers. So if you are a home buyer who's looking to get a mortgage, if you're a realtor who's looking to partner with an awesome loan officer, or if you're a loan officer looking for coaching, get in touch with me. It's those sources of revenue that allow us to produce this podcast and get out a new episode to you every week for the last couple of years. So if you're looking for a mortgage, if you're looking for a mortgage lender to partner with, or you're looking for a mortgage coach, I'm your guy. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Explain to people what a pilot is.
So pilot there's a new show that's going to come on TV, called CSI, or like whenever that came on. And
CSI Idaho.
Yes, yeah, CSI Idaho, exactly. And so they'll buy 6-8 episodes, and they'll shoot, however many, and throw it out there and see if consumers like it.
Yeah.
And then it gets picked up for a second season, or it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't go past the pilot. They just show one episode and then don't even do the other ones.
And do they usually show the pilot on TV, or does that just go to the executives? They watch
TV.
it on TV. Okay.
Yeah.
So your buddy has had an at-bat connected with the ball 6 times.
Unreal.
And all of them were like pop flies out on the first
And
ball.
he could have been brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
The best actor doesn't get the job, by the way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean
you and I
that's
go in
just
for the
life.
role, and they're like, "You just look like kind of a little bit like the guy more than me. I could be twice the actor. You'll get the part."
Yeah, of course.
Unless it's a giant role. But for
Right.
like a 10-liner, 5-liner, you don't even really need to know how to act.
Right.
It's a weird
You're
business.
giving me encouragement that I should try acting just
Let's
for a
do
year.
it, yeah.
Just to shit on all the people. Because I wonder, like, the people are like, "Oh, yeah, I tried the acting thing." I wonder if you could give them a truth serum. How many of them would be like, "I did everything I could and it just didn't work"? And how many people are like, "Yeah, I just didn't want to drive to the West Side for that audition.
No,
Maybe that would have been my moment."
You probably didn't work hard enough.
Yeah, just like everything else in life,
Just
right?
like everything else in life. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not, my acting career is not cranking. And I just, like in the last 3 years, put in way more time, figured out some things I'm not good at, attack that. It's just, there's no blueprint.
Right. How do you figure out what you're not good at? Like, are you up in acting class and your
like,
your
"You
coach
suck."
is like, your coach is like, "Hey, dude, you can't cry. Those tears are bullshit."
Yeah, no. I really, it's embarrassing to say because I've been doing this a while, but 3 years ago, I realized it's all about auditioning. I know how to act. It's getting the girl. I'm the greatest boyfriend. I'm the greatest husband, or whatever.
Right.
I can't get the girl.
Got it.
So I went and had to learn this new craft of auditioning.
Yeah.
And I've turned into a good auditioner. I'm just getting better and better. A year and a half, it really started to click. Callbacks started coming in. I with 3 callbacks to a Star Wars show. I didn't get it. But like,
You kind of look like one of the bad guys in Star Wars. Like
Oh
you're
my
tall,
God, they're so
you're
good.
tall, lanky. Like you'd be like the good douchebag from the Republic.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Take it, yeah. Yeah, of course, right?
Big douchebag. I'll take it.
Big douchebag character. That reminds me of this one scene in Friends, which I love that show when I was in high school, where like Joey's all excited because he got his big break. He finally like booked a commercial on a national ad campaign, and it was for like STD, like hepatitis C or something. So he's hitting on this girl on the subway, and she looks over and like runs away from him. I think it was like for gonorrhea or something. Chris, you're gonna have to look this up. Like the Joey character in Friends, he finally books it as the struggling actor, and it's for like a gonorrhea or chlamydia commercial or something. And so then not only did he not get his big break, now no girl will sleep with him. Yeah. But I feel like you would do the chlamydia commercial if you had to.
This actually 100%. I mean, like jumping up and down. It's funny, like when you say that. Oh yeah. 2 seconds.
Of course,
it's just a job,
Right.
But that happens frequently. Maybe a month ago, I had an audition, and it was weird looking, creepy, predator, whatever, some monster, whatever, right? And I'm like, and I was talking to my coach for the audition. I'm like, when I was a kid, like dreaming of becoming, I was thinking like, I'll grow up and be Cary Grant,
right,
like pedophile. Creepy guy. This is the part,
This is the part I was made for.
This is it.
Oh, I mean,
weird looking right? Stalker,
or
whatever. But at some point you become like, oh, I can be the weird looking stalker. Great.
Right. So somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to get paid to do it.
It's weird. So at some point you just relate it to it's just work. It's great.
I mean, I'm sure Gary Oldman didn't go into acting being like, you know what? I want to be the creepy, weird, villain or drug dealer in every movie. But all of Gary Oldman's most famous roles, he's like this real creepy drug dealer.
It's great.
Like True Romance with the dreadlocks and like the wannabe black guy, white guy, like, I mean, he's just such a weird character, but he does it better than anybody else.
It's great.
Who are some of your favorites? Like when you think of actors where you're like, man, that guy really knows his craft.
Denzel.
Oh yeah. I was just talking about the movie Man on Fire earlier today.
I love that movie.
Yeah, the best revenge film I think probably of all time, except for maybe Gladiator. Gladiator probably first.
Good.
Man on
Fire.
I know
how
second.
He works a little bit. There was
tell me more.
The thing that you want to do if you have to feel something, you can't will yourself into feeling something. I want to feel anger. I'm angry. We've discovered that thinking about something doesn't really work. It could work once, twice. It doesn't consistently work. You could you could think of something that makes you mad, but it won't work every time. We have a process that works every time.
I don't know. Paying taxes makes me mad every time.
You
can start talking about taxes. I'll be like, all right, let's do the fight scene now.
Yeah, exactly. But just thinking about it is not going to do it. Okay. So what you want to have, we always say in acting, there's stimulus, effect, response, expression.
All right, hold on. I want to write that down.
I mean, that's not so super important.
Stimulus,
effect, response, expression. So you don't want to work for anger. You want to work for a choice that makes you feel angry. A choice is a person, place, object, or thing. So it could be a person that really pisses you off. Okay. So to get there, you're working for the person.
Right.
That then stimulates the anger.
I pick Gavin Newsom. This guy really pisses me off.
Perfect. Let's pick that. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so he would be the stimulus.
If it works, you have to try it out and see if it works.
It would absolutely work.
Yeah. So that's your prep.
If I need an angry scene, I just start thinking about that guy.
Yeah, not thinking. You have to talk to him. Not thinking. Talk to him.
Talk to him.
Yeah. How dare you fuck up the beautiful state of California, you motherfucker. I'm gonna get pissed off talking about that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I mean like that I mean, right?
Right.
That piece of shit.
Yeah.
So I don't need that much time. 10 seconds in. Right. It's a good choice, actually. Right?
For the people listening to the podcast, not seeing it, both of us are like raising our shoulder. We're like, where's Gavin? We'll get up. All right, so there's the stimulus. Now what's the effect? The effect was we both got angry.
The stimulus, effect, and then my response is how I respond.
Yeah.
And then choose to express or not express. Because I could be like just pissed sitting here. I'm not expressing, but my response is there from this guy. Like I'm just fuming.
Right.
Looking at this guy. I'm just dreaming of what I'm going to do to this guy.
And then you got to read your lines and it all comes out.
And then I have to blend it with the lines. So the lines are, I mean, if you got lucky, they're close to what you would say to him, but it may not be.
Right, right.
You'd be like, if it's Star Trek, right? The transponder, you motherfucker, whatever.
Right.
But you're relating to the actor as though they were Gavin.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you're the actor, but I'm kind of talking to Gavin through the words. Yeah. Because that's my choice.
Totally makes sense. I got this suggestion. Ironically, I just gave this suggestion out today. A friend of mine changed careers from mortgage. He's doing, he was a world-class operations whiz in mortgage, but as you know, the space is condensing. He's kind of sick of fighting for jobs.
Do you think he's getting smaller?
You've heard? He's sick of fighting for jobs. So he's doing these custom pool builds where he's like a project manager and salesperson. And he's like, I've kind of been tasked with doing a lot of social media, but when I look at the camera and I just start talking, it's not me. And I'm like, yeah, I get that because that used to be me too before I got comfortable being on film. And somebody gave me this suggestion. They're like, hey, when you're doing a video for realtors, don't think of all the realtors that you would be talking to. Talk to your favorite realtor, Kenya.
Yeah.
So I look in the camera and I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm just talking to Kenya. This is just a conversation with my favorite realtor.
That's it.
Right?
Yep.
And then I just talked to her.
Yes.
And I gave him that advice. He's like, holy shit, I never thought of that before. Oh. And I'm like, yeah, same thing. If you're trying to sell a client, think of a specific client. For me, it's Bobby Luther, one of my favorite clients. I'm like, if I'm trying to explain a concept to a client, Bobby's super sharp, but she doesn't do loans for a living. So I'm just like, I'm thinking about talking to Bobby. And it's kind of dummy proof. It just makes it so much easier.
Great. No, that's it.
Boom. I'm going to become a social media coach now.
From an acting thing, I'd say, yeah, you kind of want to place her, try to see her there. Mm-hmm. What's the color of her hair? I mean, it gets a little more specific on the acting process. But what you say is, that's it. Talk to this person. Talk to that person. Because you have feelings about that person. And you're relating to that person. And that's perfect. Great.
Amazing.
Great. Yeah, great advice.
All right, so tell me how you're going to turn this into a coaching business and take over the world, like the emotional blockage coaching. How do you get people, especially men, to accept that, like, hey, you probably have a lot of emotional baggage that's holding you back. I can help.
That's a good question.
Right.
I mean,
maybe the $1 million question.
Well,
maybe you'd be better at all that than any of this shit.
Okay. In acting, we kind of deal with whatever blocks, all the blocks, because we want to play all different parts. I don't think that's necessary for the average person.
Fair.
I don't have to make sure you know how to apologize. I mean, maybe that would be good for you if that you have a hard time, whatever my block was.
My wife would probably disagree with you. She probably says, the number one thing Scott should work on is apologizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it would be identifying maybe specific blocks, common, to deal with those, because there's some real low-hanging fruit, right? It could be, I dealt with my assistant and he was having some issues moving forward. And I realized it's got to be some like emotional thing or something. And it was like, you just didn't feel confident. And I don't know, I just had I forget what it was, but it has all kinds of little fears and insecurities. It just kind of helped him with that without getting long-winded on what I did.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, what do a lot of people suffer from? I mean, is it just the rejection, the insecure? Are people pushovers or not? I mean, you coach a lot of people, so I don't know if there's a common thread of issues.
Yeah. Commitment is a big one.
Commitment. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably a fear thing though, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, to me, I'd want to go like immediately you say that and I'd be like, well, what's the
fear?
Yeah. I mean, it can't be commitment. I mean, you want this. I mean, what's derailing you?
Right.
And kind of figure that out. And maybe what I do helps them and maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But there's a place to deal with emotional issues that you need to unblock to move forward.
Yeah.
It could be in a relationship, in work. I'm not a licensed therapist, so I can't say I'm practicing therapy.
Right.
But I think from a business point of view, what comes to mind, I had a friend of mine and she should have been running the company. She's getting paid $70,000 a year doing 2 jobs or whatever. And I said, babe, you gotta go in there and demand some money. And she just was doing the, pleasery. I don't want to rock the boat and I'm a good employee. And I'm like, that's an instrumental issue. You need to be a killer and go in there and ask for what you're worth. And I worked with her for 4 weeks, got her in touch with her power, went in and she got a raise. She got a raise and a promotion eventually. But she really, and I didn't give her the confidence. She was just in this dynamic with her employers, being a little bit of a pleaser and a good whatever. And she could not do it on her own. So I just worked with her a little bit, got her in touch with her power, got her expressing stuff. We did a couple of mock things, tell me what you're worth, got into her value. And she went in and I remember I got her so fired up. And then the morning she had her call with like this is during COVID, during the bosses. And she was like, I was like, she was in the ball buster energy and she went in and she got her raise and then eventually she got a promotion.
That's awesome, man.
And it wasn't that, I spent 5 hours with her or something. It's not that big of a deal. It's just we get caught in these, I don't know, just in our daily lives. It's not like we learn and grow in this area a lot.
Yeah.
There's no emotional, how to ask for a raise gym. Let's go work out there. So she's just locked in this energy that she's just in, being a nice little good employee.
Yeah.
But really, she's hurting herself in her career.
Let me give you a good one that came up. There's a group of guys that are loan officers that I'd say we're more in touch with our emotion, or we're at least better at expressing to each other our emotions. And one of the guys has years ago said something profound as he was helping me coach some people. He's like, hey guys, like making a sales call is just a net neutral proposition. Either you call them and you get some business, or you get better at making the sales calls where there's some net positive, or you call them and you still don't have the business that you already didn't have. So it's just net neutral. Like, who cares? And he can express that. But then when it comes time to make the calls, and we just talked through this emotion like this last week, we were all together, is like there's a little bit of entitlement of like, man, I've been doing this job for 23 years. I work my ass off. I've made so many clients so much money by getting them to houses. I've saved the day on so many deals for these realtors. Like, why do I have to kean making the sales calls and staying in front of it? And there's a little bit of entitlement there. You feel it. I feel it. He feels it, where it's like, God damn, dude,
like,
why do I have to keep proving myself and selling you on me and selling? So I don't know if that's a fear of making the call or an entitlement or some type of blockage. What would you maybe start boiling that down to if you were me coaching loan officers, or if you were me coaching you, or you coaching me?
Me coaching myself, because I hate that too.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I'd say awareness, obviously, what you're doing is super important to be aware. The next thing I think I would do is, in that moment, there's a exercise we do it's so simple and it has such incredible results. It's called personal inventory by Eric. And you ask yourself, how do I feel? Out loud. And you check in with yourself and you answer it out loud.
How do I feel?
How do I feel? So, and you include your distractions, some awarenesses. So if I'm sitting here, I say, how do I feel? I don't know how I feel. How do I feel? I feel like smoking the cigar that went out. How do I feel? Thank you. I feel very engaged in our conversation. That's how I feel. I like what's happening here. I feel good. I feel present. I mean, that's just how I feel right now. Okay. I would try to discover what is going on in that moment to see what is it, just so you can identify it. Like, are you scared? I mean, what
I feel frustrated, a little defeated.
Yeah.
A little, not the word wasteful keeps coming to mind. I was like, dude, did I really waste 23 years of my life building this business where if I stop working on Monday, no more deals coming on Tuesday?
I would say go there. Like, don't if you feel like why should I do this?
Right.
Entitlement. I would say, no, like express it, get into it. Don't feel like I shouldn't feel that way.
Right.
Like maybe if I was working with somebody, I'd have them expurgate. Like, tell me all this stuff.
What does that word mean?
Oh, like vent.
Oh, God.
Go over the top, like, why do I have to do this? I hate, express it. Like, and you have to back it up emotionally. Don't just say the words. But maybe get in touch with what it is that you're feeling. Express it like over the top, Go into like, why should I do this? It's unfair, whatever you feel,
Yeah.
See how you feel after that. Feel a little better? Does that do it? Does that do anything?
Probably kicks up the anger a little bit.
Sometimes expressing, if you really get into it, express something kind of clears the air and you can function a little bit.
Shoulders go down a little bit.
That could be something like you're just kind of sitting on something.
Yeah.
May or may not work. You're saying, where would I start? That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to do it.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you just have to do it.
Sometimes you have to do the scene.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you have to make the call. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel.
Right.
So we can do the stuff. Maybe it's we got to get you pumped up. Maybe it's your confidence. I don't know what it is. If you could do a little personal inventory when you're staring at that phone, not wanting to make the call, to really figure out what's going on versus you just don't feel specifically. What's the problem?
Right.